The moment the lights go out, the countdown begins not in hours or minutes, but in the slow, creeping realization that life as you know it just changed. You'll think you're ready, until the silence hits. The hum of the fridge is gone, the tap stops running, your phone shows no signal. In the first few hours, you'll brush it off. But as darkness falls, you'll start to notice the things you truly can't live without, and they'll already be slipping out of reach. By the 24-hour mark, the air will feel heavier, your food will start to spoil, neighbors will begin knocking, and even the most ordinary items you ignored yesterday will suddenly feel like gold. By the time you reach 48 hours, comfort turns into chaos, patience runs dry, and the smallest overlooked supply could mean the difference between a rough night and pure desperation. In this video, we're breaking down the 9 things you'll miss most in those critical first 48 hours of a blackout, and trust me, the last one is something almost no one prepares for, but everyone wishes they had. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button so you never miss the survival tips that could save your life. Number 1. Cold food and drinks. For most people, the first sign of a blackout's true impact isn't the darkness, it's the sudden silence of the fridge. That gentle hum you've ignored your whole life is the sound of preservation, of safety. The moment it stops, the countdown begins. In the first few hours, you might not notice. The milk still feels cold. The meat still frozen. But inside that closed box, the temperature is already rising. By the 4-hour mark, bacteria begin to multiply in perishable foods. By 12 hours, dairy turns sour, and meat starts creeping toward the danger zone. By the 24-hour mark, that once safe food can make you dangerously ill if eaten. And here's the thing, during a blackout, food poisoning isn't just uncomfortable, it can be lethal. Without quick access to medical care or clean water, dehydration and illness can spiral out of control. Suddenly, that forgotten gallon of milk isn't just waste, it's a hazard. People also forget the emotional punch this hits you with. Cold drinks after a long day, ice in your water on a scorching afternoon, fresh fruit from the fridge, these aren't just luxuries. They're small comforts that keep you grounded when the world feels unstable. Without them, morale drops fast, and in a crisis, morale is survival. That's why smart households treat blackout food like battlefield rations. Keep a cooler ready, stocked with ice packs that can buy you extra hours. Learn to eat strategically high-risk foods first, shelf-stable items later. And don't waste that freezer space. A packed freezer stays cold longer than an empty one, especially if you've filled gaps with bottles of frozen water. Here's a trick most people overlook. Your freezer can also be your cooler. If you know a blackout is coming, move perishables from the fridge into the freezer to slow spoilage. And always have a backup way to cook or boil water before the collapse hits. The blackout will strip away a lot of comforts, but the loss of cold food and drinks is one of the fastest to hit and the hardest to ignore. You'll feel it in your stomach, in your mood, and in your health. And when it's gone, you'll wish you had prepared for that silence in the kitchen because by then, it'll be too late. Number 2, running water you didn't have to think about. Before a blackout, you turn on the tap without a second thought. Clean, pressurized water flows out hot or cold whenever you need it. But when the power cuts, that easy flow can vanish faster than most people realize. And when it does, life changes immediately. If you live in the city, municipal water systems often rely on electric pumps to maintain pressure. In the countryside, wells are almost always powered by electric pumps. Either way, no electricity means no guarantee of water. Even if you still have a trickle from the tap in the first few hours, it's borrowed time. The first loss is convenience, brushing your teeth, washing your hands, rinsing produce suddenly. Every drop becomes a decision. The second loss is safety. Without running water, flushing toilets becomes a luxury. Dishes pile up, bacteria spreads faster, and personal hygiene takes a hit. In a crisis, that's more than uncomfortable, it's dangerous. And here's what most people forget. When the blackout is widespread, bottled water disappears from store shelves almost instantly. Neighbors will be scrambling for whatever's left, and without a personal reserve, you could be relying on questionable sources. Water is also heavy. Carrying it from a distant source burns precious energy, and purifying it takes time, fuel, or filtration equipment you may not have. That's why people who've lived through blackouts often say the same thing. I didn't miss the lights, I missed the water. Preparation changes everything. Storing water in advance is the cheapest form of insurance you'll ever buy. Fill bathtubs and sinks as soon as an outage starts. A full tub can keep you going for days. Stockpile portable water containers and keep them sealed. If you have a backyard, rain barrels can capture clean water in a pinch. Another overlooked tactic is having multiple purification options: water filters, purification tablets, and the ability to boil. In a long-term blackout, the water you find may not be safe to drink as is. The absence of running water is one of the fastest ways to make a modern home feel like it's from another century. It strips away comfort, convenience, and hygiene in a single blow. When it's gone, you'll realize just how much of your daily life depends on it and how quickly survival becomes your only focus. Number 3, hot showers on demand. Before a blackout, stepping into a hot shower is so automatic you barely notice the luxury. You turn the handle, steam fills the air, and in minutes you're standing under a steady stream of heat, washing away the day's dirt and stress. But in the first 48 hours of a blackout, that effortless comfort disappears, and with it, a major piece of your daily routine. Most homes today rely on electric water heaters or electric pumps to feed water into a gas heater. When the grid goes down, those systems stop in their tracks. The tank of hot water you have left will quickly be used up, and once it's gone, it's gone. That first icy spray when you step in expecting warmth will be a harsh reminder that modern convenience isn't bulletproof. The real problem goes beyond comfort. Without hot water, staying clean becomes a mental and physical battle. Cold showers, if you even have running water, are uncomfortable to the point where many skip them entirely, and when bathing slows down, so does your hygiene. Dirt and sweat start to build up, leading to skin irritation, body odor, and in longer-term scenarios, bacterial infections. Something as simple as keeping your hands and body clean becomes a survival priority. This sudden loss of comfort hits hard psychologically too. Hot showers don't just clean your body, they reset your mood. After a long day, that warmth soothes sore muscles, calms your mind, and signals to your body that you can finally relax. In a stressful, chaotic blackout, losing that daily reset point makes it harder to unwind, sleep, and stay sharp for the challenges ahead. Preppers who've trained for blackouts know how to work around this. Some store solar shower bags, which heat water with sunlight for a quick rinse. Others keep camp stoves or rocket stoves ready to heat pots of water for sponge baths. Even something as basic as a few buckets and a portable privacy shelter can help you maintain hygiene and morale when the grid is gone. If you've never thought about what life would feel like without a hot shower, imagine going days, maybe weeks without one. Your body starts to ache from the cold rinses, your mood sinks, and each day feels a little heavier. That's why this is one of those small comforts you'll miss more than you expect in the first 48 hours of a blackout. The shock of losing it will remind you how much you relied on something you barely thought about until it was gone. Number 4, cooking without effort. Before the blackout, cooking is simple. You walk into the kitchen, flip on the stove or oven, maybe even push a button on the microwave, and within minutes you've got a hot meal. It's quick, predictable, and doesn't demand much thought or energy. But once the grid fails, all of that changes instantly, and the ease of preparing food disappears with the electricity. In the first 48 hours, you might still have some options. Gas stoves with manual ignition can work, but many modern ones rely on electric starters. Electric stoves, ovens, microwaves, air fryers, coffee makers, all of them become useless without power. Suddenly, even boiling water feels like a challenge. If you don't already have an alternative cooking method ready, you'll be stuck with whatever you can eat cold straight from a can or package. This shift isn't just about convenience, it's about morale. Eating a warm cooked meal during a stressful event is more than just filling your stomach, it's comforting. It tells your body and mind that things are okay, that life still has some normalcy. When that disappears, the psychological weight grows heavier. The physical challenges are just as real. Without proper cooking, your diet will shift toward whatever doesn't spoil or require heat, likely canned goods, crackers, and processed snacks. While they'll keep you alive, they won't give you the same nutrition, warmth, or satisfaction you're used to. Over time, that can sap your energy and resilience. Preppers plan ahead for this. They keep propane camp stoves, rocket stoves, or even simple alcohol burners on hand. Others rely on cast iron pans over open flames, solar ovens on sunny days, or portable butane burners. Those with charcoal grills can still cook as long as they have fuel stocked. The difference between struggling and thriving in those first days comes down to whether you've thought about this problem before it hits. When the blackout arrives, you'll realize just how much of your daily rhythm depends on the ability to cook without effort. And when you're standing there, holding a cold can of beans and wishing for a hot meal, you'll understand why losing this one comfort hits so hard, and why those who prepared for it will be eating far better than those who didn't. Number 5. Neighborhood safety. When the lights go out across your entire neighborhood, the first thing you notice is the silence. No hum of appliances, no glow from street lamps, no background chatter from TVs and radios. It's unsettling, almost eerie. But that silence can quickly turn into something far more dangerous. In a blackout, especially one that stretches beyond a few hours, the invisible shield of modern life starts to crumble. Streetlights no longer keep the roads lit at night. Security cameras go dark. Electronic locks stop working. The simple sense of safety that comes from a well-lit, well-watched neighborhood disappears. In its place comes uncertainty and opportunity for anyone with bad intentions. Criminal activity tends to spike during prolonged power outages, not necessarily because everyone turns into a thief, but because the usual deterrents are gone. The cover of darkness is now absolute. And people desperate for food, water, or basic supplies might start looking at their neighbors differently. It's not always strangers you have to worry about sometimes, it's people you've known for years, now forced into survival mode. The first 48 hours of a blackout are a tipping point. That's when the unprepared start realizing their resources are limited. If you've got extra supplies and it becomes obvious, you might suddenly be on their radar. Without law enforcement presence nearby or with response times delayed, small disputes can escalate quickly. In these moments, community matters. But so does caution. Preppers often stress the importance of blending in, not broadcasting what you have, and maintaining a low profile. It's also the time to think about neighborhood watch strategies. In a blackout, informal patrols, agreed-upon meeting points, and simple alarm systems like bells, whistles, or even barking dogs can make the difference between safety and vulnerability. Physical barriers matter too. Lock gates manually, reinforce weak entry points, and keep flashlights or headlamps handy. Solar-powered motion lights can still work if they've been charged during the day, creating pockets of visibility when night falls. The truth is, neighborhood safety during a blackout isn't just about keeping intruders out, it's about preventing panic from taking hold. If your community can maintain a sense of order and mutual respect, you're far less likely to see it unravel. But if that trust breaks down, the darkness outside won't be the only thing you have to fear. Number 6. Instant communication. In our daily lives, we take instant communication for granted. A quick text, a phone call, a voice note within seconds, we can reach someone across the street or across the world. But in a full-scale blackout, that lifeline vanishes almost immediately. Cell towers go down when their backup batteries or generators run dry. Wi-Fi routers go dead without power. The entire invisible web that keeps us connected simply disappears. The first few hours might feel inconvenient. You'll pull out your phone, try to refresh a page, and see the same spinning icon. You'll attempt a call only to hear the dead air of a failed connection. But as the hours stretch into days, the true weight of that silence begins to sink in. Without instant communication, you can't check in on family miles away. You can't warn a friend about trouble heading their direction. You can't coordinate with neighbors if something suspicious happens down the street. And this isn't just about social updates or casual conversation, it's about survival. In a blackout, information is one of your most valuable resources. The ability to share news about safe water sources, available aid, or incoming weather can mean the difference between security and disaster. Without it, you're operating in the dark, both literally and figuratively. This communication breakdown also creates an information vacuum. When people don't know what's happening, rumors and misinformation spread fast. Panic can set in just as quickly as hunger or thirst. You might hear a knock at your door with someone claiming the outage will last only a few more hours, or worse, that the grid is permanently down. Without a reliable way to verify, you're forced to make decisions based on instinct and trust, which can be dangerous. During these times, preppers often turn to low-tech backups, hand-crank radios, walkie-talkies, CB radios, even old-fashioned paper maps and written notes. These tools may not be instant in the way we're used to, but they restore some level of connection when the high-tech options fail. The loss of instant communication is more than a logistical challenge, it's a psychological one. Humans rely on connection for comfort and coordination. When that's ripped away, isolation can take its toll, making even small problems feel overwhelming. The reality is simple. In a prolonged blackout, you can't count on being able to call for help or get updates with a tap of your finger. The sooner you accept that, the better prepared you'll be to adapt and stay in control. Number 7. Medical access when you need it most. In normal times, medical help is just a phone call or a short drive away. But in the first hours of a blackout, that safety net begins to unravel faster than most people realize. Hospitals might still function for a while, but they're running on generators with limited fuel. Pharmacies close their doors, their refrigerated medicines warming up with every passing hour. And if you or someone in your family has a chronic condition like diabetes, heart disease, or severe asthma, every minute without proper care becomes a race against the clock. Ambulance services? They'll be swamped, and in some areas, they may not arrive at all. Communication networks falter, traffic lights go dark, and every trip to get medical help becomes a dangerous gamble through chaotic streets. Even minor injuries like a deep cut, a sprained ankle, or an infected wound can turn serious without quick treatment. In peacetime, these are inconveniences. During a blackout, they can be life-threatening. And it's not just emergencies. People who rely on daily prescriptions may suddenly find themselves counting out their last few pills, realizing that refills won't be possible anytime soon. Without refrigeration, essential medications like insulin will spoil in a matter of hours, forcing desperate decisions. In the collapse of modern systems, medical scarcity is as dangerous as hunger or cold. This is why serious preppers don't just stock food and water, they create a medical contingency plan. That means keeping a well-stocked first aid kit, learning basic wound care, having backup supplies of critical prescriptions, and storing them in a way that extends their shelf life. It means knowing where the nearest urgent care centers are and what alternative routes you can take if the main roads are blocked. In a world without instant medical access, prevention becomes just as important as treatment. A small investment in medical preparedness now can spare you from a devastating scramble later. Because when the blackout hits, you can't depend on the system to save you. You'll need to be your own first responder. And when the lights are out, the streets are unsafe, and help is nowhere in sight, that's when you'll understand just how much you took easy medical access for granted. Number 8. Refrigeration and food safety. When the power goes out, the first thing most people think about is the dark, but the real danger begins silently in your kitchen. Every hour without refrigeration pushes your fresh food closer to spoiling. Milk turns sour, meat starts breeding bacteria, and even that sealed yogurt won't be safe for long. In normal times, we barely think about it. We open the fridge, grab what we need, and trust the cold to keep us safe. But after a blackout, that cold becomes a ticking clock. Within just 4 hours, the temperature inside most fridges rises into the danger zone, where bacteria multiply fast enough to turn last night's leftovers into a health hazard. And once your freezer starts to thaw, the food you thought could last months might only have a day or two left before it's no good. People underestimate how quickly this becomes a crisis. Without refrigeration, you'll be forced to eat whatever spoils first, rationing what's left, and hoping to avoid food poisoning at a time when medical care may not be available. That means making hard decisions like whether to risk eating meat that's been sitting in a warm fridge for hours because you can't afford to waste it. Those who prepare in advance have an edge. Coolers with ice packs, insulated thermal bags, and even makeshift cold storage in shaded basements can buy you precious extra time. Some preppers keep frozen water bottles in their freezers at all times, not just for drinking later, but to keep the freezer colder when the power dies. Because once the blackout hits, and the hum of your fridge is replaced by silence, you'll realize just how much of your safety and health depended on that cold air. In a world without refrigeration, food safety isn't just about comfort, it's about survival. When the power goes out for a few minutes, it's an inconvenience. When it goes out for a few hours, it's a challenge. But when it disappears for days or even weeks, it changes everything. You start to realize just how fragile the systems are that keep our lives running. The lights, the water, the heat, the food, none of it is guaranteed. And in those moments, you understand that survival isn't about having the most stuff, it's about having the right stuff and knowing how to use it. The people who prepare now are the ones who sleep better later. They're the ones who still have light when others are in the dark, who still have clean water when taps run dry, and who can stay warm while others shiver. Blackouts don't send warnings. They don't wait for you to get ready. They hit hard, and they hit fast. So take what you've learned today and act on it. Start building your skills, start stocking your essentials, and start thinking like someone who refuses to be caught off guard. Because in the first 48 hours, the unprepared will panic, but the prepared will adapt. If you want more practical, no-nonsense tips to keep your family safe, informed, and ready for anything, make sure you subscribe right now. We cover the real-world survival strategies that others don't talk about because when the lights go out, you'll wish you had learned them sooner.